Hi, good morning. My name is Father Rayappa. I've been talking about Laudato Si models, which are practical applications of Laudato Si. So, Laudato Si, brilliantly written by Pope Francis, and we need to put those teachings into practice, in praxis. That's very important. Otherwise, there is no use of just reading. Okay, good encyclical, and Pope has written beautifully well. It's okay. Goodbye. God bless you. No, 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 no. So we need to put the teachings of Laudato Si into practice. So my effort, so I'm just creating some models. I call them Laudato Si model. I already YouTubed 8 models, and this is the ninth model I'm going to talk, which is titled Adaptation Strategy. I will explain it to you. So, in order to download or watch my YouTube, just type my name, Rayappa Kasi, Kasi, then type Laudato Si models, and you will get all the 10 models and you can listen to my talks. So, the ninth model is titled Adaptation Strategy. What is adaptation? You see, if you ask somebody what is life or definition of life, the answer comes in the form of life is defined by consumption, reproduction, adaptation. So these are the 3 words. Consumption means every life eats, consumes, isn't it? So I don't uh, expand on consumption because we are already doing very well. And comes reproduction, you know very well, and we produce our young, and sometimes we produce more. So today, human population is 7 billion. So reproduction is also, I don't want to give an extensive talk on that. We are doing, and we are quite capable of it. The last one is zero, adaptation. Zero. Nobody talks about it. What we hear on television and media is consumption and reproduction. But what do you talk about adaptation? I think this is a time to think about adaptation. Then comes what is adaptation? Adaptation is simply means if an organism lives in an habitat, if there is water and food available in the habitat, the organism stays put in that ecosystem or in that habitat. When water and food disappear, organism will not live there. It will go to a new environment or a new habitat or a new ecosystem where there is water and food, and it will adapt its life. So that is adaptation. So I think adaptation is permeated by limiting factors. What is the limiting factor? Limiting factor, no water is a limiting factor. No food is a limiting factor. Global warming, limiting factor. Climate change, limiting factor. Issue of water, limiting factor. Extinction of species, limiting factor. Pollution, limiting factor. So I'm afraid we have hundreds of limiting factors right now, everywhere, throughout the world. So now, you tell me, are we adapting? That's an important component of every living being. Most of the birds and most of the animals, they migrate. That's what many birds have done. In India, animals and birds, they have moved out because they know that we don't have future in India. In many parts of the world, also if they think there's no future, they encounter limiting factors, they move out. But only one species, humans, we think that everything is fine, everything is okay. And the irony is, adaptation, organism adapts to the environment. But in human society, we bend the environment to suit our own lifestyle. In other words, if it's too hot, animals move out, but human species, Homo sapiens, too hot. He buys air conditioner and fits inside room and he thinks everything is okay. But you're polluting outside. So bending the environment, they involve consequences. Every action, there is a reaction. So when you bend the environment, surely you need to pay the big price. So anyway, Pope is suggesting some of the models how to adapt ourselves. So the first thing is, all these problems are the outcome of two revolutions. One is industrial revolution, another one is green revolution. So Pope is calling, in the paragraph number 114, is calling for a bold cultural revolution against industrial revolution and green revolution. And also Pope is calling for a circular model of production in paragraph number 170, which means new form of technology, energy transition and production and distribution, markets, and everything is done sustainable way. So 114, urgent need to move forward in a bold cultural revolution, industrial and green revolution. We should tell them or wish them goodbye, because these two have created hundreds and thousands of limiting factors. Adaptation from these two revolutions is the must. So Laudato Si 22, paragraph number 170, I'm going to read it for you, in which Pope is asking international community to go for a new way of production. So that is adapting ourselves from the fossil fuel use, and also adapting ourselves from the dangers of consumption, and go for simpler way of productions, sustainable way of productions, small scale industries. So, and also better recycling and reusing the material. So far, we have been plundering resources. Every production we go for fresh, we go for new resources. But Pope is telling, no, reuse the same paper, reuse the same iron, reuse the same copper. You don't have to go and drill the earth and suck out new resources. Use efficiently what is available, and also building of factories. The carbon sequestration, don't emit in the atmosphere, maybe under the earth, bury the emissions. So anyway, he's writing, paragraph number 22, I read Pope's writing. Natural ecosystem, work is exemplary. Plants synthesize nutrients which feed herbivore, carnivore, which produce significant organic waste, which give rise to new plants. But our industrial system, we have not yet managed to adopt a circular model of production. The use of non-renewable resources, reusing and recycling them. This is one form of adaptation. And 170, paragraph number, he writes as follows. Some countries with scarce resources will require assistance in adapting to the effects already being produced, which affect their economies. So adaptation, Pope Francis uses those words, and I'm very happy that Pope Francis is using one of the greatest component of every living organism on earth, that is about adaptation. So he is calling for bold cultural revolution. So against green revolution and industrial revolution. Agricultural revolution, which started 10,000 years ago, deforested, and that is the time humans learned to farm. But more recently, 1960s, green revolution, based on fertilizer use and pesticides and genetically modified crops, that made people increase their economies, increase their wealth, and also increase their population. But bold cultural revolution uh, is calling for organic farming. Okay, so we come back, we abandon fertilizer, pesticide, and we come back to organic farming, and that will dramatically increase the health, good health of our humanity. An industrial revolution, steam engine driven by technological advances, uh, complete new technology in the 19th century. But bold cultural revolution, they are not going to use the old technology which deplete fossil fuel so fast. Old technology is a kind of gas guzzlers. Industry was guzzling up gas, and even vehicles, autos, everything. That old technology based on guzzling the gas. So that's what it's all about, more pollution. But now all new technologies and our efficient new technologies, they don't use enormous amount of resources, but they can use probably green energies, so thus don't pollute. So that kind of new technologies, world cultural revolution is envisioning. And in this revolution, it was a shift towards fossil fuel, coal, oil. But bold cultural revolution is a shift away from fossil fuel. And we go back to solar energy, wind energy, water energy, geothermal energy, ocean energy, etc., etc. And finally, industrial revolution, a shift towards consumption. That is what the whole population was consuming and consuming, consuming. But bold cultural revolution is a shift away from consumption. Pope Francis writes, happiness means how to know some, limit our needs. Happiness means to know how to limit some needs. Christian spirituality proposes very, very simple and frugal life. So I think bold cultural revolution is going to change our lifestyle and our habits. Each and every one becomes a mutineer. Each and every person becomes a revolutionary. It is 7 billion people revolution, because industrial revolution and green revolution have destroyed our natural world beyond our imagination, and in which each and every one of us participated in the act of destruction. But now in the act of purification, restoring all the ecosystems, the same 7 billion people are going to act in a good way, in a positive way. I think this revolution can liberate us from the clutches of industrial revolution and green revolution. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.